God's glasses. God's glasses. Today is Laetare Sunday, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but be that as it may. Today is Laetare Sunday. It is also known as Rose Sunday. In some places, rose-colored vestments instead of the purple are used, instead of the purple. It is also known as Refreshment Sunday, when joy is expressed. It is a lightening of the Lenten disciplines just for one day to help get us through the season. In fact, if you look on the Episcopal calendar that we have in the sanctuary, you'll see it's in rose. It's not in purple for today. The disciplines of one day get relaxed to help us get through the season. For we're halfway through Lent now. We can begin to see the other end and the gladness that will come then. I've got a question. Has anybody been following Lent Madness this year? Okay, I see one hand up. That's good. Lent Madness is a competition of the saints. And Thursday we changed from working from the original 32, which we take two at a time and then vote as to which one should be passed forward. But we've changed from the 32 to the Saintly 16 now. We're working our way down, just like March Madness with the basketball. We began the second round of voting as we look for that one saint who will end up being the one to get the golden halo for this year. So it's going to be interesting. You can get into this by looking at lentmadness.org, and then just follow the instructions, and you can get to vote on what saint you would like to go forward. They have good explanations about the saints. On our bulletin, I asked that this picture, and actually it's supposed to be an up-down picture. Take a look at your bulletin. And that covers the children of St. Peter's had gotten together and they've shown the gospel stories for today in a series of poetic pictures. Take a look. The eye on the top has darkness in its center. It represents the blindness of that unnamed man. Man had been blind since birth. And under the eye is the brown for the earth. Then under the brow from the earth, there seems to be something called mala. The term mala comes from the Sanskrit language, and it's used to explain the spittle, the saliva, the part of Jesus, the fluid of Jesus, the extension of Jesus that he uses to cure the man's blindness. So you've got the earth that the man was made of, and you've also got that spittle from the divine. The second eye shows the reflection of light. Jesus is the light of the world, and Jesus is suggested by the green cross. Green is the color of new growth. Spring, joy, happiness is nearby. And then in the picture, the children have shown the water. The water the blind man was told to go and bathe in the pool of Siloam, a pool that was known for its healing powers. The man bathed there, and he gained his sight at that pool. The pool represents baptism also. The man is going from sightless to sighted. A radical change is happening to him. Our baptism is the same thing. It contains that same radical change as when our sins are washed away in the waters of baptism. This man's old life has died in those waters, and he has been born anew with sight beyond that the Pharisees had in the story. The children, I think, have led us into a gift through their interpretive drawing, and I'm thankful for what they have given to us. As we go through our daily routines, what is it that we are missing in our lives as we look out with our sight? What is it that we're missing? What are we blind to? What is it that we cannot see as we look around us? Maybe with a neighbor, or some other person. There's a story about Sherlock Holmes, the great detective, and Dr. Watson, his assistant, that you may have heard before. Of course, then again, you may not. It goes like this. One day, when they were on a camping trip, after a good meal and a bottle of wine, they lay down for the night and went to sleep. Some hours later, Holmes woke up and nudged his faithful friend. "Hey, Watson, wake up. Look up. Tell me what you see." And Watson replied, "I see millions and millions of stars." Sherlock Holmes then said, "Well, Watson, what does that tell you, though?" Watson pondered for a minute and then replied, "Well, let's see. Astronomically, it tells me that there are millions and millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets out there. Astrologically, I observe that Saturn is in Leo. Horologically, I deduce that the time is approximately 3:15 in the morning. Theologically, I understand that God is all-powerful and that we are small and insignificant in relationship. Meteorologically, I suspect that we have a beautiful day tomorrow. Why? What does it tell you?" And Sherlock Holmes responded, "Watson, you idiot. Someone has stolen our tent." Okay. What do you see as you look around you? If we listen again to the story of the blind man, we can learn that Jesus saw in the man someone who needed to be healed, and then he healed him. His disciples saw a theological problem to be solved. Was it the man who sinned, or was it his parents that sinned, that he was born blind? Jesus saw someone hurting. His disciples saw an argument about theodicy. Jesus viewed the man from the standpoint of the future. The disciples saw him in terms of the past. The Pharisees, on the other hand, saw Jesus healing in terms of breaking the Sabbath as they looked from their restricted beliefs. How do you see the things that happen around us? Because that's really the bottom line. How do we see what happens around us? And how many different interpretations could there be? I read an article written by someone named Diana. She told about when she received her first pair of glasses. She was in the 6th grade when it happened, which would make her about 11 years old. And she wrote, "When I first stepped out of the doctor's office into the parking lot, the first thing that I saw was this big tree. I had never in my life seen a tree like that. Before I got the glasses, I thought that trees were just blobs of green or brown and red and orange. Theoretically, I knew that what a tree should look like. I could see leaves and bark and such, but after I saw them through my new glasses, I realized that the tree was far more than just leaves and bark. The leaves had lines and edges and curves and sharp points. There were birds in the tree, and I could see them now. There were cracks and grooves in the bark that I had totally missed before. Being able to see the detail, the intricacies of nature is true beauty. But as true beauty, it's how God sees each of us. Jesus saw a man who needed healing. Jesus saw someone hurting inside. Jesus viewed the man from the standpoint of the future, a future that would include both insight that he had at the beginning of the story and the sight that Jesus would give him. One day, more recently, some people saw a blind man sitting on the steps of a building. Perhaps you've passed a building with a blind man sitting on the steps. When he had a hat at his feet and a sign which read, "I am blind, please help." A creative publicist was walking by, and he stopped to observe that the man only had just a few coins in that hat. So he drops in a few more coins, and then he picked up the sign without asking the man's permission. And he took the sign and he turned it over and he wrote another message on it. Then he replaced the sign by the man's feet and he left. Well, that afternoon, the creative publicist returned to check the blind man and see how he was doing. And he noticed that the man's hat was full of bills and coins. The blind man recognized his footsteps and asked if it was he who had written something on his sign. He wanted to know, what did you write on it? The publicist responded, nothing that was not true. I just phrased your message a little bit differently. He smiled and went on his way. The blind man never knew, but his revised sign read, today is spring, and I cannot see it. What do you see in the story of the man born blind? I mentioned about what the children saw, but what do you see in that story? And there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's only your answer. What do you see in the people that surround us or things that happen around us each day? What if we could put on some glasses, God glasses? Glasses that would allow us to see that intricate and detailed beauty of each person we meet. Imagine how differently we might act if we also remembered Jesus' words, you have seen the Christ, and the one speaking to you is he. How might those glasses make a difference in our lives? You know, I truly believe that each of us is important. Each of us needs to be seen clearly as we walk into the future. Come with me now. Let's walk into the future together. What more marvelous thing could happen? Amen.